What's good with you, NBA sports fan? This is your boy Oumar DoeJr. bringing you another NBA topic today. Now, today we're going to be talking about why Kawhi Leonard will never win an MVP in his career. Now, Kawhi Leonard is the superstar forward for the San Antonio Spurs, the second best two-way forward in the game of basketball today, right behind LeBron James. He is only 25 years old and is averaging 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game while shooting 48% from the field, which is a big step improvement from when he first came into the NBA, only being a defensive player. Now, he has gone from a purely defensive player to now a mix of an all-around player when it comes to his offense and defense, which has really carried the Spurs all season long and has sparked a huge debate of whether he should be one of the top runners for the MVP, which he is. He's on the short list. He's one of the top 4 when it comes to the MVP race at the moment. But given his circumstances, I don't think he's going to win an MVP, and I don't think he's ever going to win an MVP, and here's why. Now, reason number 1 is a very subtle thing that casual NBA fans really don't pick up on, but one thing that he doesn't do compared to the other 3 candidates, which is LeBron James, the best player in the planet. Then you have Russell Westbrook, the athletic freak and triple-double machine, who might just break Oscar Robinson's triple-double record for the season and is going to average a triple-double by the end of the season. And James Harden, who is just winning games. He has the most wins out of between LeBron and Westbrook. He is trailing behind Kawhi by a couple games, and he is getting his triple-doubles as well and putting up monster stats. The difference between those 3 and Kawhi Leonard, who is the second best two-way forward in the NBA right now, is that he's the only one that really does not have an outward emotion when it comes to winning the MVP. If you go and look throughout the season's NBA quotes, you can see Russell Westbrook obviously has a heavy interest of winning the MVP. James Harden has been wanting to win the MVP since 2 years ago when he lost it to Steph Curry in a super close race. And LeBron James is wanting to win the MVP every year, and deservingly so, but because great things get fast to people who see it too often, he's never going to win an MVP ever again unless he goes on a James Harden type season like James Harden is having now and gets to 60 wins. But that's not going to happen, I don't think, because of LeBron James' resting streak and him only caring about championships. But he still shows an outward emotion when it comes to wanting to win the MVP, something that Kawhi Leonard does not show at all, which is something that casual NBA fans really won't pick up on, because Kawhi Leonard, out of all those 4, him, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, is that he doesn't have any quotes really compared to all the other superstars in that category. You don't see any quotes about him talking about any other team. You don't see any quotes about him really talking about his coach or his players or even improving his game really. He's just an unquotable guy really. No one really cares to probe him or question him for quotes. Now, the second reason why Kawhi Leonard will never win MVP in his NBA career is because he doesn't have a brand. Nowadays in the NBA, even stars get their own shoe deal, have some commercials, and are quoted a lot more and shown a lot more throughout the NBA media outlets, whether it comes to newspapers, online YouTube videos, online blogs, or even ESPN. The NBA does a great job of showcasing not even just the superstars or all-stars, but even stars who don't make it to the all-star level. You have players wavering in that same bubble at like Damian Lillard, LaMarcus Aldridge. I can go on and on with the players really when it comes to that standpoint. Even the young players get a lot of really nice branding when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns, Porzingis, Anthony Wiggins. Zach LaVine has some nice promo for himself after the dunk contest. Even Aaron Gordon, who isn't the best player on his team, I wouldn't say not even close, I don't think he's the third. I'd say he's the third best player on his team, to be honest. He gets some nice branding as well. You always get to see his highlight dunks whenever he makes a dunk in a game because of the All-Star game where he showed out. And that's where all that brand is being created. Now, compared to Kawhi Leonard, he doesn't really have a brand. Like I said in the last point, he doesn't have any quotes. He's not outspoken, and he doesn't even have a nickname. After the 2014 playoffs where the San Antonio Spurs beat the Heat and Kawhi Leonard was dubbed the LeBron Stopper, it was kind of his new nickname called the Claw that was circulating for a little bit throughout the NBA, and has obviously died down because no one calls him the Claw anymore. It's just simple like that. But it is crazy to think that a superstar like Kawhi Leonard, someone who has risen to that status, been Defensive Player of the Year multiple times, does not even have his own shoe. If he does, no one knows about it. He doesn't have any quotes, doesn't have a brand. If you compare it to his other four counterparts when it comes to the MVP race, LeBron James, the biggest brand in NBA, one of the biggest brands in the world when it comes to his shoes, commercials, and business ties. Russell Westbrook not far behind. Of course, he's not in front of KD, but he's not far behind with his shoe deal with Jordan. He has crazy commercials with True Religion and Mountain Dew that people enjoy watching, and people love hearing quotes from Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is the NBA's version of Marshawn Lynch with a little bit more emotion when it comes to stating out things that he thinks is just not right, or being straight up with the media. To be honest, that's what he is. He's straight up with the media. Yeah, he's very dismissive, but he's straight up, and that's something that attracts us fans because of his mentality when he plays basketball, his drive to just always pummel through the opponent. He kind of carries that into the media room, and that's something that all the fans really like, and that's something that really grows his brand. And James Harden just signed a humongous deal with Adidas, having his own shoe. He had a really great Adidas commercial that I enjoyed watching, circulated out all throughout last year. Died down this year because, after the aftermath of last season when they went 41-41, of course no one expected them to be the third seed in the West and possibly one of the best teams and maybe the team to come out of the West. I'll go over that in another video. But those are the brands that Kawhi Leonard is having to go up against. And not just that that's just for this season's MVP. He could be in the MVP race for the next 4 years, and I can see potential all-stars and stars who can rise to an MVP level and have a great season and still have a bigger brand than Kawhi Leonard. So just some names to go over you with. Say if Damian Lillard had the same type of season that James Harden is having right now, which he is fully capable of with a nice running mate in the backcourt with CJ McCollum. If he gets a nice bench and some nice role players that can score, he can be in the same class as James Harden. Also, you have Paul George, who's not far behind, who's been in previous MVP races before. He could jump in if he has a great year like he did in the past before he broke his leg. Even John Wall. Now, John Wall has a little bit of ways to go, but he does have the ability, if he really wants to up his scoring and finds a way to keep up his assist totals. And Washington repeats this 2 times, 3 times with the success they're having this year fighting for the number 1 spot. Obviously, fighting for the 2 spot and has a really good shot of keeping that. Then he could be a possible MVP candidate. And that's just a couple. I'm not even going to bring up the big guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kristaps Porzingis, even Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. He's getting a lot of name recognition because he's the only one of those big guys getting triple doubles multiple times. The fourth and most obvious and glaring reason why Kawhi Leonard will never win a MVP in the NBA for his whole entire career is because he is playing under the greatest basketball mind ever to be a coach in the NBA, which is the great Gregg Popovich. Now, Gregg Popovich has a resume that can stand up against any coach in any profession ever to walk the life of earth. He has 5 championships, which can be enough said from there. and only one of them was earned while he was with Kawhi Leonard. The other 4 were pretense before Kawhi Leonard. Then you head on to his regular season accolades. 18 straight seasons with 50-plus wins in a season. No other team is even close to that at the moment. He has one of the best offensive schemes in the NBA and has won plenty of games while resting Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Kawhi Leonard. All of his stars that he's ever had play under him, he finds a way to win without them. And he, of course, finds a way to win with them. These past 2 seasons have been astounding when it comes to the winning percentage. Of course, last year was nothing close to Golden State's 73-9 record. But if the Golden State Warriors did not go 73-9, there is no way they would have had the first seed because San Antonio was so close, it was ridiculous. Last season, when the 2 teams paired up, Golden State and the San Antonio Spurs, for the 3rd and final meeting, they had the highest win percentage and highest amount of wins combined together for a regular season game. And that is because Gregg Popovich is amazing with a failing and old Tim Duncan, injury-riddled Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, and still rising star Kawhi Leonard, and a falling star in LaMarcus Aldridge. He was able to put up a record that great. And even this year, they have a really good winning record without Kawhi Leonard and a really good winning record without LaMarcus Aldridge, which really shows you how far his stock has dropped in the NBA. And of course, it's just non-debatable. Every single player under Gregg Popovich will never get the full credit that he deserves. Same thing with Bill Belichick in New England. He has a great system that he can just plug in players with, and if you're great, you're going to be great. If you're not, you're going to be more than serviceable for him. If he thinks that you're worthy enough to be on the team and he thinks you play hard enough for the team, you'll be more than worthy to play for him and be more than serviceable. That's how great of a coach he is. And because of that, every single time when it comes around for MVP voting, a lot of the players that win the MVP are always seen to win the MVP, not so much because of their coach, but because more times than not, in spite of their coach. When LeBron James won those 4 straight MVPs in Cleveland, no one really gave Mike Brown any crazy credit. Everybody said LeBron James made Mike Brown, not the other way around. Everybody would always say that, no one would say that Derrick Rose's head coach deserved more credit than Derrick Rose for winning the MVP. Same thing for Kevin Durant. No one gave Scott Brooks any credit. Everybody discredited Scott Brooks because of the offense that they had. Always had to either run through Russell Westbrook or Kevin Durant, or Kevin Durant when he won his MVP that year. But in this case, everybody would give Gregg Popovich more credit for Kawhi and his growth and the way he has matured into a superstar than they would give Kawhi for actually grinding and training. And that's the only difference that is between him and all the other superstars in the NBA that could win the MVP. No one's going to give those superstars, their coach, the credit. But when it comes to San Antonio Spurs, you have to throw in Gregg Popovich's name with whichever player it is. And those are 4 really valid reasons that I think Kawhi Leonard will never win an MVP in the NBA. Of course, there's always a trade market, but by the looks of his career and his personality, he's not going to leave, especially after he's already won a championship and he's playing under an all-time great coach. He seems comfortable. He's comfortable not speaking about not winning an MVP. He's comfortable about Gregg Popovich maturing him along and growing him into the superstar he was going to be and superstar he is now, and what he could be